Good evening, St. Lucia. Welcome to another episode of 758 Sports Talk. Of course, it feels like it's been a while. It has been a while. Of course, I was absent last Monday, and the Monday before that was Carnival Monday, and then we had an entire week, which was a Monday, an entire week leading up to Carnival Monday. So it has been a while. I will say, St. Lucia, for those of you that are viewing in the comfort of your home, I would say to each and every one of y'all, guys, no homo, women, we safe. I miss y'all. I genuinely miss y'all. I feel every Monday night like it's an interaction with St. Lucia. Persons who are so concerned about sports development, genuinely concerned about sports development, those who are not so concerned about sports development but are only looking for information so that they can prick administrators or prick different individuals that they have certain things against. Every single one of you guys, I miss you all. It feels good to be back. Of course, I will be taking it lighter going forward. That's what I've committed to myself and my family. Because for sure, for those of you who do not know, my family on both sides, my father, my mom, a lot of us, the Kazimirs, a lot of us have this problem with high blood pressure, and it really doesn't take much to spike it, so to speak. And so, I mean, it was really, really difficult. Of course, for those of you who knew about my ordeal, an accident, and pretty much the accident was minuscule in comparison to what actually caused anything with me. It was just a situation of high blood pressure. And of course, I always drink my water, my blue waters. And if I wasn't an avid consumer of water, boy, God alone knows where I would have been today. But I am alive and I'm kicking. I'm well. I'm very, very well. And I'm looking forward to continuing to cover some of the biggest sports activities in St. Lucia. A lot has happened since we last spoke, St. Lucia. One of the things that happened was we saw the final of the Grosley Football League promotional competition that was held on the weekend, and that final was long overdue. We had to pause for the Coca-Cola Island Cup, and I didn't even get a chance to delve into that competition. Of course, that happened just before Carnival, and so we saw the postponement of the final, and the final was scheduled between the defending champions in Grosley, GMC United, of course, the overall Grosley League champions, and they came out on top of the promotional competition. GMC last year, if you can recall. They also went on to the President's Cup and they finished third, which is just outside of qualification for Division 1 Cup. And so GMC United, KFC GMC United, of course, a formidable team in the Grosley community. They came up against up-and-coming new. I'm sorry if I smile, St. Lucia, every time I say the name, but I'm proud to be a sponsor. St. Lucia Sports Online, proud to be a sponsor of Moshi FC. So it's SLSO Moshi FC. That final was played at the Corinth playing field. And for those of you who did not get our news, Sports Online Moshi FC featuring, of course, the prolific striker Troy Greenidge came out on top. Troy having a hat-trick in that game. And, of course, he could have had a beaver trick in that game. For those of you who do not know, hat-trick 3 goals, beaver trick 4. They missed a penalty in that game, but they still came out on top. All right, and so we want to touch base definitely with a number of individuals tonight. Of course, tonight we're doing catch-up. We're catching up. Since I missed last Monday and the Monday before was Carnival, a lot has happened. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try tonight to at least catch up with catch you up with most of what happened during that time period. And so we will be calling in some individuals to find out what's going on in certain sporting disciplines, and we are going to be touching base with other individuals who are responsible for some sports activities in St. Lucia, and of course responsible for sports activities that are going to be happening in the not too distant future. All right, so tonight we have first person online tonight is Mr. Chad Daisy. Chad Daisy is of course the vice president of the Grosley Football League, also affiliated with the St. Lucia Football Association, and so we want to touch base with Mr. Chad Daisy, who just going to fill us in on all things Grosley football, and we recently had the promotional cup. Good evening, Chad.
Good evening, sir.
How are you doing, sir?
Tired.
Tired. Tell us why you're tired.
Well, been at a camp for the past week, and today we continue from 9:30 in the morning to at least 3:30 in the afternoon. So it's non-stop for me. It was the weekend we had the Grosley promotional cup finals. So that's been hectic past couple of days for me.
Okay. All right. So in terms of let's just talk about the Grocery Promotional League final. Tell us a little bit about how that went. We know we had the preliminary stage. Let's go from Genesis to Revolution. The preliminary stage, we saw a couple of teams. Tell us a little bit about the teams that participated and the progress of the competition.
Well, our tournament started in June. We had 4 teams in the tournament. We had Dominators FC from Grenadier. We had GMC, the Noisy Neighbors, KFC GMC. We had Raidry and the newcomers, or the re-established Initial Sports Online, Moshi FC. Yeah, so, I mean, it was an exciting tournament, I must say. But we had to put it on a pause due to the SLFA Coca-Cola Island Cup. And I think our last game for the tournament was around the 28th of June. You know, and the Coca-Cola Cup was an entire month. I mean, the boys were eager to play the finals of that tournament, because even the winner of that promotional tournament goes up into the President's Cup, and gives them a chance to play national club football. And then the winner, or the first and second clubs in the President's Cup goes up into the first division. So I mean, the boys were eager, and I must say the game on Saturday was a very exciting game. I mean, you were there, so I mean.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that. GMC United, of course, KFC GMC United, one of the featured teams from the Grocery community, a team that has done well. They've been on the fringes for a number of years, behind Northern United, of course, always in the final of the Grocery Football League. And that team, their initial coach, Darren Babaranks, is out, and we saw some keen competition. Let's talk a little bit about KFC GMC United. They are now not going to the President's Cup. What's going on with that club? What are we seeing? We're seeing some progress, and then what's going on?
Again, the head coach, Darren Babarang, Gasper, I mean, had to take some time off to put his spirit into the coaching field. They actually doing a course in England, trying to get himself a little bit more qualified in the field of what he loves. And therefore, the club has been left on the shoulders of Coach Bingi. And Bingi, has to do grassroots, his own development, and therefore it has been very difficult for him to actually train the senior squad as Baba Ranks would have done. You know, and even if you look at the tournament, we were short of a goalkeeper. I mean, we had one of the best goalkeepers that ensured us getting our Spider Cup title last year at Casper James, and it has been a no-show for the promotional cup. We have no idea why, because he was fit for the Coca-Cola Cup. So we have no idea why he has not shown up, and therefore Bingi had to fill up that role. Therefore, that leaves the bench unoccupied. So he had to play a coach role in the game, and therefore, I mean, as a player in a game, you don't really see what's going on compared to someone that's on the
sideline. Absolutely.
And the GMC really did give Moshi a run for the money. I mean, looking at Moshi defeated them in the group stage games back in June, so they had something to prove to Moshi that was just a fluke. And well, obviously it was not. I mean, the guys just, if you look at the game, I mean, it was an even game and a very physical game. But, you know, when you have a dangerous striker like Troy Eto Greenwich, you cannot afford to give any space.
Exactly.
Any space, you know. I mean, the defense or the midfield of GMC was really lacking in the second half of the game, walking in the game, and therefore allowed Nicholas Lawrence, or they call him Taliban, to give that excellent cross which shattered the bars, you know. And Troy, again, the goal poacher that he is, I mean, that's what it does. He put it back at the back of the net. That was the game.
Absolutely.
I mean, but But I said everyone at the game was satisfied with the level of the game.
Yeah.
You know, GMC placed in third last year in the President's Cup. I mean, it should be a top team.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they are not a weak team. So, I mean, Moshi actually came out, bought their new players this year, and it has paid up for them.
Absolutely. So let's just talk.
New sponsor. Television Sports Online.
Yeah.
So they had to represent, you know, on behalf of the sponsor. I mean, KFC, the GMC sponsor, still will be there, but I mean, we still have a Spider Cup to defend this year.
Absolutely.
It will be a battle because Moshi FC, Television Sports Online, Moshi FC will come out.
Oh yes.
Try and get a title for the first time.
Definitely. Rest assured, I think we can guarantee that. That would be a very exciting tournament, especially considering you would have to add in that mix in Northern United. And of course, I can tell you SLSO, Moshi FC, they want nothing more than to play Northern United in that Grocery Football League. So let's just talk a little bit about finally the camp. Going forward, you guys have a very good camp with a lot of young persons featuring in that camp. Tell us how that's going.
Well, the Gozere Youth Development Camp is a collaboration between the Gozere Youth Development Council and the Gozere Football League. It's the 4th annual camp. What we do live skills in the morning, or we bring certain persons to talk about various topics like how to take a proper interview as a sportsman, the life of a professional footballer. How do you become a professional footballer? We have Zimpie coming to talk to the boys. Tomorrow we have Leo Clark to talk about the life of a professional referee, and what it takes to become a referee. So, I mean, apart from that, the guys or the boys basically enjoy their technical skills training in the afternoon, and at the end of that activity, you get to play against one another. We also had an exchange with Valley Soccer, which went well last Thursday. So, I mean, the campers are been fun. They are bringing their new friends. On average, we have at least 44 to 45 persons at a camp, but we have at least 67 to 69, I believe. I believe 69 registered participants, but on average, you get 45 on a daily basis, you know?
All right.
So, I mean, that's been going great. And what we're trying to do at the end of the camp, we have a new format where we want to introduce the 555 movement, where we want to get every participant that are still attending school 5 notebooks, 5 exercise books, 5 pencils, 5 pens. And the support has been great so far. We had M&C Drugstore dishing out a number of exercise books so far. And we had Timothy James also giving a box of supplies. So, and also Dr. King has promised a number of items that we shall be collecting tomorrow and massive stores. So, I mean, it's going quite well so far. And the brewery also is also planning to give us a number of malts which will be used on Friday for our closing ceremony. So, I mean, and if I have to look at the sponsors, like Go Bat Fund, Peter and Company Distribution, you know, Blue Waters, Free Kick Foundation, all these persons have come about Tunisia Air Freighters. They have come on board. Cold Pot Restaurant has come on board to help us to make sure this can be a success for 2018. You know what I mean?
All right, good stuff. All right, well, thank you so much, Chad, for your time, and of course, all the best with all your endeavors in the Grocery community in terms of developing our next generation of footballers. And of course, we will be having a discussion perhaps later on preparations for the Black Hat competition and other things. But thank you so much, Mr. Daisy, and all the best with all your endeavors.
All right, thank you for having me, sir.
All right. That was Mr. Chad Daisy, the Vice President of the Grocery Football League, also a member of GMC United. I wanted him to point that out to you guys. Of course, GMC United giving up their promotional league title last weekend, giving it over to St. Lucia Sports 9, SLSO Moshi FC. Of course, the Moshi FC, they will be having, I could see, the official launch of their youth program. You guys can look out for that. The official launch, we're looking at around the 29th of August, and so we have a lot to touch base on in that community. All right, we also have some activities on Wednesday being a holiday in the Viewfort community. Of course, Viewfort Vieux Fort is always a community where persons go out and find a lot of support in the sport of football. And so veterans in sports, they've coupled and partnered, married with the, say, Vieux Fort South Football League to actually have a very good and worthwhile activity. And we're going to be hearing a little bit more about that. We have on the line tonight the CEO of Veterans in Sports Inc., Mr. Alvin Malakan. Of course, veterans, they live on. Veterans, you have to be in it to win it. I'm not sure what the slogan is for this year, but they always have something nice and catchy. Mr. Malakan, how you doing?
Hi, good evening, Kenson. Good to see you. Good to see you alive and well, and kicking and back at work.
And kicking. Of course, if you know me very well, so you could imagine how desperate I was to get back on set and with St. Lucia. So, Veterans in Sports, of course, tell us a little bit about your activity on Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely, Kenson. Well, I'll just, we have a theme for this year already for Veterans Football. It's Leading the Way.
Wow, leading the way.
Yeah, leading the way.
Veterans leading the way. Right?
Yeah, and it's really fitting, you know, given what we're just gonna do with the Vieux Fort South Football League, our first annual fundraiser, you know, and we're gonna call it Kick for Cure.
Kick for Cure.
Yeah, and what we're doing is just trying to see, you know, a lot of persons, as you know, have been touched by this deadly disease, cancer. And I challenge some of my veteran football players and the football fraternity, you know, that if anybody can say, you know, they don't know somebody who have been touched by this disease, you know, then let me know, because it's something that's affecting all of us. And we felt it fitting, you know, to partner with the Vieux Fort South Football League in this very important venture. You know, we want to make it an annual event. Is going to be held, you know, every 1st of August, you know, moving forward.
Wow.
And we're calling it Kick for a Cure. And what we have done is really set up a nice little event, you know, with the veteran football clubs. We have invited 12 teams, you know, so we're going to have a 12-team single elimination veteran soccerama, you know, where they'll have a number of activities going on around the event. You know, it will be a fundraising drive, so the teams are coming together. It's we have invited all the veteran teams, but in the tournament we just have 12 teams taking part.
Okay.
And it's gonna kick off at 10:30 and go on, you know, until we have our first annual Kick for Cure champions.
Wow, nice. That is a really good initiative. And of course, veterans, you guys have been leading the way in terms of really pushing especially persons who are getting up there in age to do something physical. And I think Vieux Fort would be definitely a nice place to start it off. So tell us a little bit about the arrangements you guys have been making for the event on Wednesday.
Yeah, well, definitely. Well, we're partnering with Mr. Bellas, you know, so we are handling, well, from Veterans in Sports, we're handling the activities from the getting the veteran football teams organized, you know, so we try and kick off on time. Mr. Bellas would be handling, you know, the other activities in terms of, trying to run the bars, doing some promotional activities. We at Veterans in Sports will be doing our normal giveaways. You know, we have some Kick for a Cure inaugural T-shirts, you know, would be more or less, I wouldn't say selling, you know, it would be more or less to make a contribution so we can make a donation, you know, at the end of this tournament, you know. So we have some really nice shirts we're going to be promoting at that event. Yep. You know, so it will be a wonderful day, you know. The teams have not been together since February. So a lot, you know, we are looking forward to seeing some of our veteran guys, you know. Yeah, so with 12 teams, as you know, you have a whole lot of veteran football players. So it should be, you know, a nice event, you know, having everybody come down again, you know, in the community of Vieux Fort, who have not been there for a little while, you know, back at the Philip Marsley grounds, you know, I would say the home of veterans football.
Let me tell you, Mr. Malakan, you are so correct. And I mean, my phone has been blinging already. Big up all Central Vieux Fort players from Easy. So I mean, once Easy on my platform, you know these guys are looking forward to veterans football already.
Yeah, definitely. And this year, I think the Veterans Football Tournament, I think this year, would be exciting. We're going to twist it up a little. I don't know, let everything out of the bag. We're still in final negotiating stages with our sponsors. We have some new sponsors, coming on board, which would make it even more exciting for all our players, and the fans of Veterans Football.
All right, so definitely, what is the start time? I think you said about 10 o'clock, 10 a.m.?
Yeah. Well, the first game kicks off at 10:30, where we have Labowie Connections coming up against Beaufort North. Yeah, so that will kick off our event. And the matches are 45-minute duration.
Okay.
So it's a knockout, but I guess the winning teams with progress. We have seeded the teams.
Okay.
So in the second round you'll then meet the seeded teams, which are Soufrière, All Blacks, Grosley, and Central Beaufort. Yeah, so it should be exciting,
I should put a power rankings out for that, man. I put Grosley and Soufrière.
I'll send you the teams. I think you should have a copy of the fixtures already.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so well, I guess the team to beat is always Soufrière, so
yeah,
and we're looking to see what VS.
My unbiased opinion, Grosley will win. My very unbiased, very unbiased opinion.
Caricom Masters is still undefeated.
Imagine you went for entire competition undefeated, yet you all didn't win.
So. Yeah, but very interesting.
All right. Well, Mr. Malakan, of course, again, thank you very much for keeping, and I love the theme this year. I absolutely love the theme. Veterans leading the way, and you guys are leading the way, perhaps, in the fight against some of the scourges, the health scourges that we face in St. Lucia. So good stuff, man.
Yeah, thank you, Kenton. Thank you.
All right. All the best for your activities.
Oh, thank you. And just like this, I'm just to the public, just come out and support.
Yeah.
It's a world event, the first annual Kick for a Cure, so it should be an exciting one.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. All the best with that activity. I'll definitely pass by and lend my support as usual.
Okay. Yeah.
I love you for that.
And thanks, Kenton, for all your continued support.
No problem,
and
boss.
Sports Online.
All right, sir. All right. That's Mr. Alvin Malakan, the CEO of Veterans in Sports, Inc. And, of course, Veterans leading the way. And it's the first annual Kick for a Cure at the Philip Master Grounds at 10 a.m. Lots of exciting football, of course. Grosley in the mix. Soufrière, formidable team. And let me tell you, if there's one team in the Veterans competition that has something to prove this year, it will definitely be VSADC. These guys don't play. All right, we're moving right along. As I said, there's a lot to get into tonight. And of course, I have with me Mr. Patrick Mathre, who is from the Department of Youth Development and Sport. Mr. Mathre is the acting director of the Department of Youth Development and Sports. And we just saw the recently completed Windward Island School Games 2018. Mr. Mathre, welcome again to our set.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be
all right. Yeah, let's just get right into it.
Yes.
For the first time in St. Lucia's history, hosting the game, actually having a games village at Coconut Bay. How did that work?
Oh, that worked well. That worked well, Kenton. Let me first of all say good night to our listeners, good night to St. Lucia and the wider audience on the World Wide Web. I believe, and I would say that for an experiment hosting at a hotel, Games Village, that went absolutely fabulous. Okay. Fabulous from the standpoint of a number of issues. We were safe, we were secured. The hotel did a tremendous job in catering for close to 300 persons. In terms of getting them meals on time, in terms of the packaging of the lunches to take them out of the village. There was a concern about the gathering of persons, but that was handled. And not just the hotel itself, but the management of the teams really helped. And above all, for me, the crowning on it all was the role of the village mayor. Okay. He really brought everything together and he made it work. There were morning briefings with all the managers, with the teams, and it just worked so fabulous. I mean, it was a games of a difference. Right. It was of a difference.
And we should point out that from all analysis, hosting everybody at the one location worked out financially better.
Yes, definitely. This is something that I'm glad you pointed it out. It did work out much better because if we did not do it in this way, we then would have to get maybe 2 or 3 different caterers. It's a 10-day event. Yeah. And also you have the issue of the security, as I said. If you're hosting at a village, that's an additional security company. And what worked well also was the fact that everybody was in touching distance of all of the venues.
Okay.
I mean, the logistics was just tremendous. Kenson, I'm a smiling individual this evening.
All right.
I am smiling.
Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about the games. St. Lucia, they came out on top in netball.
Yes.
I don't think that was any surprise given our exploits at OACS level, at the Jean Pierre competition. So tell us a little bit about our netball, our girls.
Our girls played tremendous. Kenson, it was something out of a fairy tale, so to speak. That's how I want to describe it. In our very first match against Dominica, we're doing well up to the third quarter, and then a sense of change of focus, and we kind of, in a sense, dropped a bit. We won eventually, 27-25. It was a bit scary, and but
Our girls are tired though.
Yes, they were. They were. But for me, with that team, we moved into the second game. We had a better showing, and I suppose they're more relaxed. But for me, again, it was the last game.
Yeah.
The unbeatable Grenadians, as they were because they already had defeated St. Vincent and had defeated Dominica, and they were coming against St. Lucia, and the crowd was on to St. Lucia, but it was that we cannot defeat Grenada.
Yeah.
Kenson, 38-19.
Licks.
A blowout. A blowout. The girls were on fire. And I would dare say, had those same girls played maybe football, we would have been on top.
Okay.
That's how fantastic they
the
played.
girls played.
Yes.
All right. Well, okay, and we saw this very early. We saw from our inter schools competition, we saw scores like 6-5 in basketball. We saw some very low scoring contests, and then that kind of transitioned into how we performed in basketball. What is going on with St. Lucia when it comes to basketball at that level?
I want to put it down to a level of concentration. I want to put it down to a level of focus. And more, for me, it seems that there needs to be more of a finishing touch for St. Lucia. Okay. I could say to you that in every game, at some point, St. Lucia led. Wow. For instance, in Dominica, the Dominican game, the first game, we led at one time in the first quarter, 12-0. We were leading Dominica. At the end of the first quarter, we were leading. At the end of the second quarter, we were leading. At the end of the third quarter, we were leading. And then something went wrong in the last quarter, and we lost to Dominica. And I dare say that the trend continued. And in every single game, at some point, St. Lucia was on top. St. Lucia was... There was never a blowout on St. Lucia. And just towards the fourth quarter of every match, we just saw it all went down. So I'm saying maybe in the future we should play 3 quarters of basketball.
And for St. Lucia to win. Had St. Lucia won at least one of those basketball games, I think we would have been in a stronger position.
We would be, because when we went in, we anticipated that we would have been tight for basketball, maybe a second place. We were aiming for the first place, maybe a second place. We were banking on both of our volleyball teams to come in first. We were looking closely at the football. We didn't expect, and I dare say that in terms of football, in my own mind, St. Lucia played some brilliant football, but the finishing, we just were not able to finish, and we played brilliant football. And then that for us was the low point in terms of how it went. But I suppose the teams came out gunning for St. Lucia, as they always do. And it was all about, it's sometimes in my own mind when you sit and look at the games, I think it's a sentiment not to win Whelan Islands games, but to prevent St. Lucia from winning.
We have that target.
Yeah.
All right. So you mentioned briefly football. Should I leave football for last? Let's go to volleyball. Okay. Let's go to volleyball for a little bit. Male and female volleyball. Of course, Dominica, they tend to like their volleyball and focus on the volleyball. Again, we've seen them doing well. Yes,
they eventually won the tournament, and our only loss was to Dominica. And although, and it was surprising that we didn't even take a set against Dominica, whereas St. Vincent, who came fourth in the tournament, was able to do so. I think that yes, we will focus. I believe that the game was too rushed. It was our final game against Dominica. It was do or die for both teams, and the mental toughness of the girls did not come through as we expected. And the Dominicans held their nerve. Yeah. They were able to go through, and it was something different. And for me, it was not about the skill level of St. Lucia versus Dominica. It was about the crowd support. It was about the young ladies coming out with a determination to win that match, which St. Lucia was not showing.
Okay. All right, football. Let's talk about football. We have to talk about football.
Yes, we must talk about football. And I must say, Kenson, that in my own mind, our team played well. Okay. They played well from the standpoint of the transition game, the passing game. They were able to get the ball from the half, from the back way up to the foot, and the final foot, it just did not come through. We were just not taking enough shots on goals. We were just not doing it. It almost seemed to me that that at times, and you heard from the crowd that we have a Brazilian mentality. We want to walk in with because we were just not striking. We just, and you could have seen it. The first match against Dominica, there were maybe about 2 or 3 strikes on goal from our because everybody was around the box and we played. And when I think it's only after the final whistle blew we realized that we were out of time. Because we were just enjoying ourselves, we were having fun, and then only to find out, hey, we drew against Dominica. A match we could have won easily. And the trend continued. The trend continued. St. Vincent surprised us with a very early goal. Not sure that they will not settle. And in the last minute, when we were trying to, there was a counter-attack, and again, we were caught flat-footed and scored. And even the Grenada match, I mean, that was a brilliant match. That was a brilliant match. And we had Grenada on the back foot running. But again, when they score and they're very good defensively, they start to defend. And that is where the attack was there. In all of the games that Central played, the majority of ball possession, St. Lucia.
Wow. And that kerfuffle at the end, I would think as somebody who would have been there, you can give us a better explanation, because I personally do not know. I've seen the footage, I got the information. What actually happened?
Well, it was actually a very unfortunate incident in terms of a free kick was given to St. Lucia. When the ball was kicked into the wall, it hit a guy in his face. And he was like woozy, and then he was going for the rebound of somebody gave him a little nudge. Well, some people say it's more than a little nudge, because television shows it very graphic. But he got a little nudge, and they were not very happy. And so the tempers fled, and a fight ensued. And I think the referee at this point, who was very relaxed throughout the game, felt that this time he wanted to put the big stick down. But for me, it was a little too late, because you're talking about the first minute of injury time. And that is what you want to say, let us draw the line. And maybe a lot could have done earlier on during the game, but it was just unfortunate that incident happened. But I want to believe that, based on what I saw and how the incident went down, that we really we blew it out of proportion. It was really, really out of proportion. It was nothing which does not happen in games, as you said, at international level. Of course, we never ever condone violence at any level, but we're saying that it was not something that persons would have said that, look, this was so out of the way. You understand? And as I said, the camera might just blow it up, but we were able to put it under control. But for me, more important is not the incident, but what happened after the incident. That's
what I want to know. I'm interested in finding out what happened after all of this went down in Vieux Fort.
After the incident, we had a discussion. First of all, the village mayor, the DPS, the manager of the team had one discussion with Grenada to find out what has happened. And again, it was just about tempers, just flaring up, people trying to correct it. We did, of course, mention the fact that the spectator got onto the field, bridged the barriers. He was arrested, and the police dealt with him at a different level. And so we had that discussion. Persons just admitted, yes, it was all about the flaring of tempers. There was a separate discussion and a meeting with the St. Lucia team happened, and then there was a joint meeting of both parties and everybody. And
so the young men, did we get anything where these individuals that were part of that kerfuffle, they came together? And
they did. They, afterwards, after the discussion, they shook hands. Everybody said it was in the spirit of sport, let us move on. As a matter of fact, Kenson, you should have seen those guys after the opening ceremony. One big family. After the closing ceremony, after the official closing ceremony, there was a little Grenadians and oh my God, that is what we call unity. Yes, sports really brings it together. Sports really brings it together.
All right. So we have clarity on that. So let's talk a little bit about the venues before we wrap up, because we have so many other things to do tonight. The venues, how did the venues work? Of course, I was interested in Miku, because obviously I was jealously at home looking at videos of people with dancing in Miku. How did that work
Miku
out?
worked out well,
Okay.
and that's one of the things for us in the games is the public support that we got. Persons were there, despite the fact that it was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You had a crowd from Miku coming in. Sometimes I should have gone later, but the crowd built as the time went on, and people were there very supportive. Not just the teams, but the general public was out to support it. I mean, the atmosphere was lovely. Sometimes, despite the fact that it's 10 straight days of solid work and organization, sometimes I wish things like the Windward Islands games could come along more often because of the atmosphere and what you felt. I mean, it was just like a summer festival. It was so wonderful, and I believe that yes, we did not come out on top as a nation. We were joined second place with St. Vincent, but I think the effort by everybody to come out, Team St. Lucia, and I want to say Team St. Lucia, one collective, really came out and said to person that sports is alive and well.
All right, so the let's go down to the Philip Massey grounds. Of course, Philip Massey grounds, known for football. Of course, I just spoke to Mr. Alvin Balkan, pretty much a home of veterans, the home of tooth football. Of course, they are along with Babia Valley and sometimes, well, Soufriere when it's up and running. How did that work out for you?
Again, we
what is the crowd support like?
And Kenson on the first day, it was you would have thought it was a veterans match.
Wow.
The crowd, we were not packed to capacity, but there was a massive crowd at Viewfort because persons came out, they supported, and trust me, I believe that had St. Lucia won that match, then we would have had to collect a gate fee. Because that is how packed it was on the very first day in terms of the support, the crowd support, and I must say that's football at Masley Grounds.
Yeah.
I need to mention too that the grounds is not finished because we would have had to do some remedial work for the competition. That has happened. Of course, we will continue to do work to ensure that it gets back to where it was. But it was a complete makeover in terms of the grounds itself, the sitting facilities. I mean, it's just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful atmosphere.
Right. Okay, so give us the final point standings, how it ended, and so you can know for sure exactly what happened.
Okay, the final point standing, Dominica ended up with 25 points and were in the 4th position. St. Vincent and St. Lucia were tied on 2nd place with 27, and Team Grenada walked away with the championships for the 11th consecutive year. 33 points. Yes,
so we finished second again.
We finished second in a second 2 years in a row. We need to go back to the drawing board just to plan for Grenada. So the same way that they planned for St. Lucia, I think now it's not about them planning for Grenada, but for St. Lucia planning for Grenada next year. But it will be hosted in Dominica.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So thank you very much, Mr. Patrick Maffre, for
Pleasure,
filling us in. Of course, Windward Island Games 2018, a success, you would describe, in St. Lucia. Philip Massey Grounds, Miku Multipurpose Court, and of course the Multipurpose Court in Viewfort, as well as the George Odlum Stadium. All right, so we definitely due for a break. And when we come back, I have with me tonight a special guest, Mr. Mohammed Khan, who is the Managing Director of the St. Lucia Stars. So, St. Lucia, what I tell you, we packed tonight and we have a lot to talk about. CPL cricket in St. Lucia. A couple of weeks. In fact, tomorrow is your last day. If you have not collected or bought your tickets, tomorrow is pretty much the last day to get it at the early bird special. Johnson Charles $30, just $30. Season for Johnson Charles $120. Absolutely excellent deal. So we'll get into that a little bit more when we come back with Mr. Mohammed Khan. Welcome back to the 758 Sports Talk, and of course we've been having some very good discussions so far in terms of what's been going on in St. Lucia as it pertains to sports. And now we're into our little cricket segment. Of course, we're going to be going to the lines once again before we get into our guest, our final guest for the night. And of course, we will be giving you, St. Lucia, the opportunity to phone in with your questions. Of course, we know you have so many questions regarding the St. Lucia Stars, the composition of the team, the ticket prices, the games that we have scheduled, and so we will be giving you all that opportunity. But for now, we saw on the weekend the semi-final of the Groseley cricket competition, the Leonard Montooth sponsored Groseley District Rep cricket competition. And of course, I have to discuss a little bit about that. Mr. Alton Crafton on the line. Mr. Crafton, how are you doing?
Yeah, good night, Kenson. It's really nice to see you tonight, and all of this. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Crafton. How's the tournament going so far?
Well, pretty good so far. We are into the semi-final stage now, and we're very delighted with that.
All right, we saw on the weekend, of course, the Edward Blasters. They came up against my team. I always say my team is the Goodman Warriors. That's my family there, and not being successful. Tell us a little bit about that game.
Yeah, and clearly the game is played on the D.
Yeah.
Because clearly the Goodman Warriors came into that game as favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came as favorites, and that night they just didn't deliver at all. Okay. So the Edward Blasters came through.
All right. The other semi-final. When is that game scheduled to take place? Has it been played? No,
the second one is scheduled for this weekend, but we just received some fixtures from the Cricket Association indicating that there's some today. The today tournament continues this weekend, so we'll have to meet and say something definite very soon.
All right. The tournament has been going on for a little while now. Tell us how it's been going. What are some of the objectives, and are you all meeting those objectives?
Yeah, clearly. We're very happy in terms of the objectives we set off initially, and our main goal was to allow the batsmen to get more batting time, the bowlers to get more bowling time, just have the players to develop batsmanship some more. So we remove ourselves from the T20 version and went into the 50 over. And in fact, next year, and as time goes on, we intend to go into the 2D and 3D. So the guys will develop more batsmanship, more love and desire for the game and for batting and bowling.
Definitely. All right, and we know a lot of work has been going into Groseley cricket, of course, but none less than what you've put in terms of time and resources. Who are some of the performers that have really impressed and continue to impress in that competition?
Well, so far in this tournament, we have had 4 centuries.
Wow.
We had Tariq Gabriel with 140. That was a masterful inning. Dean Edward with 115, Venice Gabriel, also a century, also Stephen Natrum. But we saw Jad getting out for 98 in one of, 98 not out in one of the games. And he, I think, was maybe one of the most consistent batsmen right throughout the tournament.
Yeah.
So I think that went very well. The 50s, we have had 10 half centuries so far in this tournament. We got one during the first semi-final. In the game number 10, we had Jamal James hitting a half century. Yeah, so in terms of what we see on the field, it has been going on very well so far.
All right, good stuff. Just to veer off a little bit, Kiana Joseph, for preparation for T20 World Cup and that sort of thing. Have you been in communication with her, and how are things shaping up for her?
Of course, Kiana is going through some extra training here. She's due to rejoin the West Indies training squad next week Monday.
Okay.
So in between that time, we're doing some extra work for her. So when she goes there, should have some sort of advantage to push herself into that team.
All right, good stuff. Now we're about to discuss, I have Mr. Cannon set with me. We're about to discuss CPL T20 2018. Tell us what are your feelings? I mean, you're a cricket connoisseur, so you would probably have your opinion on our team. What do you think this year?
Well, after last year, I have to be a quiet supporter. I mean, last year didn't go well at all. But clearly this year, things based on the squad they have, the Stars has put out this year. They should be commended for that. I think we expect better things this year. In fact, I believe if they play to the fullest potential, they can actually win that this year.
All right. So who are you looking forward to seeing most at Bosiju? David Warner?
Yeah. Okay. David Warner and Keswick Williams. I mean, the whole set, Darren Sammy, Fletcher, the whole lot of them.
Okay. All right. So compare Warner to Carl Hooper.
Carl Hooper, to me, I haven't even seen anybody close to him. I haven't seen anybody close to Carl Hooper for a while now. So
you think you will ever see somebody close to Carl Hooper, Mr. Crawford?
I'm still looking. What's that?
You think you will ever see somebody close to Carl Hooper?
No. But I'm not even seeing anybody close to. That just shows you Carl was in the class above everybody else.
I mean, if you were saying that when Carl Hooper was playing with Brian Lara, I don't think it's now you will stop saying that. So
exactly. I mean, Lara scored his 100, but Carl's 40s and 30s would be like perfect 40s
masterful,
and 50s. So that's very, yes, satisfactory.
All right, Mr. Crafton, continue working hard in the Grizzly community. In fact, on a national and sub-regional level to develop cricket. Thank you so much for all you're doing.
No problem at all.
All right, thank you so much. That was Mr. Alton Crafton, of course, coach, cricket manager, everything to do with cricket in St. Lucia, and of course, the sub-region. All right, so as I said before we took our break, I have tonight with me Mr. Mohammed Khan, who works with the St. Lucia Stars, the managing director of St. Lucia Stars. Welcome to our center, 758 Sportsnet. I think a lot of people are looking forward to hearing from St. Lucia Stars management for a while now. And of course, I thank you for joining us tonight. So, CPL 2018, how are the preparations for the event coming?
Well, preparations are, to be honest with you, the preparations are in full swing. As you know, it's never easy. There's so many things to do to organize a tournament. We have our 5 home games starting on August 16th. So that's really where the preparations are right now. But I'm actually heading out to Trinidad tomorrow because the players will be coming in directly to Trinidad for our first game. We put a big priority on that first game. And so that's why we wanted our players to come directly to Trinidad so we can focus on competing really hard in that first game and hopefully coming away with a win.
All right, so as we just discussed there, the composition of our team, we've seen a lot of, last year we were really excited. Around this time leading up to CPL 2017, we were excited because we had some really big names on our squad, and of course we all know now what happened. What do you think would be different in terms of our squad?
Well, I think the first thing that I'll say is that even this year there's a lot of big names in the squad, probably more than last year. But the one thing that I'll say is that you've heard this cliche over and over again. The games aren't won on paper, and even this year the games are not going to be won on paper. It's going to be really about everybody coming together, knowing their role, and playing the right style of cricket, and doing things right. And I think the one thing that's really underrated in cricket or any team sport is players coming together and being accountable. And I think the easiest thing to do is when the things aren't going well, the team splinters. Everybody's going their own way. Everybody's criticizing selection, criticizing each other. It's really important to stay together. And I think we have a lot of good leaders on our team this year. Obviously, last year we had Darren, who was the captain, and Darren obviously historically has done extremely well. Last year was obviously a down year for everybody, not him alone. But this year, I think we've tried to rectify some of the problems that were in our squad last year. One of the things that I talked to Darren about was that, we scored runs last year. It wasn't that we didn't score runs. We just couldn't stop anybody. And so this year we've tried to rectify that situation by, adding some real quality fast bowlers and also some real quality spinners. And I think people are going to be surprised, by how good this team is. And I think this team is really good.
You spoke a little bit about leadership, and this year, Pollard. When Solutions first heard that somebody else other than Darren Sammy was going to be leading the team this year. I mean, Solutions, generally love Sammy. And what is the thought process behind making that move and that decision?
Well, I think there's naturally going to be some trepidation from St. Lucians because Darren is not the captain. Obviously, Darren has had so much success as a captain of the West Indies national team. He's gone to Pakistan in the PSL and had success as a captain in that franchise, and really all around the world. Darren has had a lot of success. Unfortunately, last year wasn't a great year, and I think everybody agreed that it was an opportunity for a change, and Chiron kind of filled that void. When I brought the idea to Chiron, it wasn't that he didn't take that right away. He actually spoke to Darren and said that this has been offered to me. He understood that the people of St. Lucia really want Darren to be captain. But circumstances were such that we were looking for a change, and he took it. And Chiron's been in this situation in the past because he was the captain of Barbados,
and people,
and people at Barbados were not happy with Chiron being captain. But that's not really something that I would say that Chiron is really brave to be the captain in this situation, and he's had a lot of success as a leader of the team as well. So I think. St. Lucians have a lot to look forward to. Darren is still a very, very important part of the team. He's someone I talk to, quite regularly, and we've had a lot of conversations about the makeup of the team you know, everything from the makeup of the team to tickets to where we should be staying and how things should be going. So he's still very, very important for us.
All right, let's go to selection day, the day of the draft. I was paying attention to the draft, and obviously, as a St. Lucian again, I first come from a St. Lucian perspective.
Of course.
Johnson Charles' name was never called by the St. Lucia Stars. What were the reasons behind that, and how do we justify that?
Well, sometimes you have to make decisions that aren't popular.
Yeah.
And I know Johnson has historically been a very, very good player for St. Lucia. You know, 2 years ago, he's probably one of the best players in the tournament.
Yeah.
Last year wasn't a great year, you know, for him. And sometimes it's cricket. Sometimes it's down to bad luck. You know, you get run out. Somebody takes a brilliant catch. You play the right shot, but it goes to the wrong place. Things happen. But, you know, I think, you know, from my perspective, that was really my decision. And we saw an opportunity to bring in Darcy Short, who was really, you know, at the time doing extremely well as an opener for Australia. We wanted that right-hand, left-hand combination as well. Now, Darcy ended up not playing for St. Lucia because he got picked for the Australia A Tour to India. We were able to get David Warner instead. So
not a bad trade there.
Yeah, it's not a bad trade. But the one thing that I'll say is that the door is never closed on anybody. You know, Johnson is not here this year. He might be here next year. But I think it's a good opportunity for him in Jamaica to rediscover his form and find his best. And you know, he might be back here next year.
Okay, we'll definitely see what happens. So let's just look at the tournament. Of course, like you said, our first game is against Trinidad, in Trinidad. Of course, Trinbago Knight Riders riding a wave of being the so dominant.
Let me ask you something. How badly do you want Trinidad to lose that game?
I think that would be great if Trinidad loses that game. But again, we saw through the draft that Trinidad went out and they got pretty much the same composition of the team. And in terms of balance, since you asked the question, I would answer. In terms of balance, Trinidad perhaps on paper, in terms of having depth in bowling, spin, pace, medium pace, and still having the absolutely devastating back in attack. I mean, Narayan could destroy any batting attack at any time. I think Trinidad is definitely one of the favorites, of course, defending champions, and so definitely I think that they...
Well, I'd say a couple of things about that. So number one, I'd say that, you know, Trinidad has a very good team, but I think all the teams this year in CPL are very, very good. I think if you look at what's happened over the last week or so, you know, Barbados has added Steve Smith. Today they added Mohammad Irfan. So, you know, you can see that they're actually getting better. St. Kitts was really good last year. You know, Trinidad won CPL last year, but St. Kitts was really the best team.
Really good. Chris Gale and Lewis
exactly.
at the top.
You know, Evan is extremely dangerous, and Chris is Chris. But I'll also say that I used to be the general manager of the Jamaica Talawas in 2016, and when I recall, we not only did we win, we beat Trinidad 3 times. So, you know, I'm feeling.
So you're bringing over that Midas touch.
I'm hoping that Midas touch is, you know, coming over this year, and I think the great thing about the players that we have on our team, you know, guys like Kyron, Darren, David, Lendl, they're really going to take the challenge of beating Trinidad, you know, straight on, head on, because, you know, we understand what Trinidad is Trinidad, it's KKR in India, it's a powerhouse, right? It's a powerhouse, and then so we're here as, you know, kind of the underdogs to kind of, you know, kind of trip them up a little bit.
And what's fascinating about that is our first game in St. Lucia
is against Trinidad. That's why people have to buy their tickets. I know that tomorrow we're going to be giving tickets away. We're not going to be giving tickets away, but we're going to be selling tickets at Coconut, and we're going to be giving away a free St. Lucia Stars cap.
Wow, so every ticket purchase?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that, but thank you for telling me. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the ticket pricing, because we saw this year it's definitely more affordable for St. Lucians. What was the thought process behind your pricing this year?
Well, I think we wanted to take a mulligan with what happened last year. Last year was not a good year. I think as a franchise, we have a responsibility to engage with the fans and the people of St. Lucia, you know, each and every community. Obviously, you know, not everyone can afford a very high price ticket. And I think we wanted to make it reasonable for everybody and give everybody an opportunity to come to the stadium and enjoy cricket with their families. And St. Lucia as a community, as a country, to really get behind the team and kind of reestablish the franchise again, right? Because again, I think we've talked about that. You know, last year wasn't a great year, but we want this year to start off well, and for that, you know, we need people to come to the stadium, and we're hopeful that with the team that we put together and the hard work that's been put on behind the scenes, that they will, and a reasonable and fair ticket price is part of that.
Yeah, for St. Lucia, for those of you who do not know, Johnson Charles, which is pretty much the stands that a lot of St. Lucians tend to like, is priced at $30 until midnight tomorrow. $30. I mean, that is an awesome offer. And the season ticket, I think, is even better, $120 for the season ticket for Johnson Charles. The cashews and grocery stands is at $20, which is really, really good, of course. And then you have grounds at $10. A lot of people prefer being in the grounds. I remember having a ticket for one of my friends, and it was cashews grocery, and he was like, no, I'm going in grounds. He prefers grounds. So that should be really, really nice. So
I think there's something for everybody.
Definitely.
Whatever you like, there's going to be an opportunity for you to come watch us over the 5 games, and hopefully, people will buy season tickets because I think they're very affordable.
Definitely. All right, so we'll do a break. We'll take a break. When we come back, I'll definitely get into your messages because I've been feeling my phone ringing. I'll get into your messages, and we'll actually open the phone lines for you to interact with Mr. Khan and ask your questions about CPL 2018. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to 758 Sports Talk, and we're talking to Mr. Mohammed Khan. Of course, we are opening the phone lines right now. We're discussing the CPL T20 2018, and of course, you could continue to send your WhatsApp messages at 488-0929. The phone lines are now open, 451-9788. That's 451-9788. All right, a couple questions already on the platform for you. Will all the CPL matches be showed live in action?
I believe so, based on how many people show up to the ground. I believe there is a blackout cap, and on every single island, there's a blackout cap. So, I believe that number is about 70 to 75%. So, considering how reasonable the prices are, considering how good we're going to be this year, you should come to the games and enjoy live in person.
All right. Can we get an assurance that the Darren Sammy will play all games? Question.
I think as long as Darren is fit, Darren should be a regular member of the 11.
All right. Similar Darren Sammy questions on the platform already. So just to continue our discussion in terms of preparation for Darren Sammy cricket grounds, in terms of who's generally responsible for that, are we expecting that everything would be in shape in time for the 16th?
Well, I think I'm certainly hopeful. That's one of the reasons why I'm here. But one of the things that we've tried to do over the last couple of months is really build a strong team here on the ground of St. Lucians who can really be a part of the St. Lucia Stars franchise and build a franchise in their own way. So we hired Tracy Arnold. Tracy is essentially kind of the CEO on the ground.
Okay.
And Tracy has a lot of experience from the St. Lucia Tourism Board, and Tracy, I trust. I think Tracy is doing a phenomenal job. In her role, but the team that she has around her as well. Our ticketing staff, our volunteer staff, our accreditation staff has been excellent as well. So I'm really confident, along with the sports St. Lucia, that we have a good partner and that we should everything is on track. But it's never easy.
All right. So we've been seeing the mentorship programs part of CPL, St. Lucia Stars. We have some of the best young talent in the region, sub-region, like Kimani Melius, John L. Eugene comes to mind, Simet Gursun, Akimo Geese. Will they be having those sort of mentorship programs for these young persons, bring them into a conversation with the veterans and see what we can do?
Yeah, we're a couple of things. Number one, during the time we're going to be having our games in St. Lucia, West Indies under-19 team is having a tour. And I believe that there's also an under-19 tournament happening in the West Indies amongst the various islands. So right now we're not 100% sure about the availability of some of these young guys, but I'm a big proponent of giving young players an opportunity. You talked about Melius, who's had success with under-19 cricket, and just in general in the West Indies, there's a ton of talent. And for us to be successful, not only in the short term but in the long term as well, we need to foster that talent and give that talent an opportunity. If you just look at St. Lucia Stars in general, last year towards the end of the season, it wasn't a great year, but Raheem got opportunities, and Obed McCoy, and those guys have actually gone from strength to strength. Raheem is playing West Indies A now. Obed was probably the best bowler in the Canada League, and for West Indies B, that team got to the final, which says a lot about how good he is. And if you were just to ask me, those guys are going to be stars for West Indies cricket, and they're going to be in big demand in the IPL and other leagues around the world. So, we're always going to give young players an opportunity, and when we have our camp and practice sessions here in St. Lucia in the middle of this month, young St. Lucians will definitely be invited.
Right. So this person is definitely concerned about viewing this thing on TV. I'm not sure, because a follow-up question came, included matches played outside of St. Lucia, what TV station would they be able to get it on? Go to the Darren Sammy Cricket Grounds. But ESPN will be showing the highlights and that sort of stuff, so they can definitely see it there. Somebody else asked, where can we get tickets in the Soufre? I guess the Soufre community, but generally ticket outlets.
Okay, so we have tickets. First of all, tickets you can get them online at cplt20.com, which I know most St. Lucians may not want to do that, but I know we have tickets at the sell outlets all over St. Lucia, and we have in Soufre. I think the tickets in Pier 28. We have tickets. So if you live in Soufre, go to Pier 28 tomorrow and get your tickets.
All right, so Pier 28 in Soufre. All right, and of course the sell outlets all over St. Lucia. You could definitely get tickets for you guys to definitely. All right, St. Lucia, we're talking CPL cricket and the sports here tonight. So let's keep the questions about CPL 2020. All right, so after tomorrow is July 31st, and then we get into August. In terms of ticket prices, or what can we look forward to then?
I think the tickets tomorrow are going to start jumping a little bit. We're going to have the second phase of the early bird special. So Johnson Charles will go up from 30 to 40. But again, it's a great opportunity over the next couple of days for people to go out and get their tickets at a reasonable price, so they can enjoy the games rather than coming to the stadium on the day of the game and waiting on long lines and long queues for tickets. And the other thing that I would say is that if anyone is thinking that they should watch the games at home, the one thing that you do not want to have happen to you is you don't want a team to win a championship and you had an opportunity to come watch the games and you didn't do it. So you don't want that to happen. So please do go out and get your tickets. It's going to be a great time, and there's going to be great entertainment at the stadium as well. And so come out and watch us.
All right, somebody asked, why is St. Lucia always overlooked for the end games, the semi-finals, finals? Why is it always Trinidad?
Well, we can't say how well Trinidad is going to do, but I'm certainly expecting us to do a lot better this year. I mean, I would be extremely disappointed if we were not in that playoff battle, and I'd be even more disappointed. I would be disappointed if this team didn't get to the final and possibly win it. So, I think my focus is on St. Lucia and how good St. Lucia is doing, and we're definitely going to compete against whoever's in our way, whether it be Trinidad, Jamaica, whomever.
Okay. All right. Hey, when will they be at Coconut? So again, somebody probably came in late. What time and what time?
Well, you can get the tickets at Coconuts
tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 8 o'clock at Coconuts, you can get your tickets, and you're going to get a free Stars cap along with your ticket. And there's also tickets at Kiwi's.
All right, so definitely, if you're up north in the Rodney Bay area, listen to the options you have. You have the sell outlet, you have kibis, you have coconuts. So you have a lot of opportunities to actually get tickets tomorrow. Of course, we're going to kind of stress this enough. Tomorrow is the last day for the early bird special. And of course, after tomorrow, from the information we get in, it doesn't get too bad. It's $40 after tomorrow. But if I were you, I would prefer to just go ahead and get the season ticket for $120, which is really a good price. All right. Somebody's asking about entertainment at Darren Sami. Any provisions for somebody entertainment?
Well, what we're expecting this year is that, first of all, we're going to have the DJs, we're going to have the drummers. But one of the things that I wanted to really focus on is really support the local artist community here in St. Lucia and give them an opportunity to use our platform to get the word out about their music and about their acts. So, we're going to have a lot of local artists. Stay tuned on our Twitter page and
all right, we have our very first caller. Good evening. You're live on 758 Sports. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, good night. Yeah, Kenton, just to clarify something, I don't think your guest was able to answer the question, which was just asked a while ago. Why isn't St. Lucia hosting the semi-final and final? The semi-final and final, none of the franchises have any say as to where the semi-final and final is held. That has to be a country. The country has to bid for the final. So, for example, Trinidad bidded, the time Trinidad had the final, Trinidad government bidded for the final to be held. St. Kitts had it, remember, I think once or twice. The government of St. Kitts made the bid to host the finals. So each individual franchise has no say as to where the final is held. I just wanted to say that.
I had some difficulty understanding everything, but the point he was making was that the government of Trinidad, one of the reasons they keep getting the business end of CPL is because the governments tend to bid and give off certain assurances for them to host the finals. All right, so I think that is the point the caller was making. But we have some more questions there. Hi, Kenson and guests. We'd like to know where we can get team jerseys. When you look at the other countries, they're always well dressed to support their teams, so we need to represent. And that came up last year. St. Lucia was one of the only franchises without an outlet where you could go and get a St. Lucia shirt to come to the games.
I think to be completely honest with you, that's still a work in progress this year. I can say that if you come to the stadium to watch us over the course of the 5 games, there will be replica jerseys available, and we will be selling them at the stadium. But at this moment in time, we're not selling them at any outlet across St. Lucia. So, again, I would encourage anyone who wants to be a part of it this season to definitely try to come to the stadium, and the jerseys and replicas will be available, along with other merchandise, including hats, cell phone covers, and the works. You're gonna get a great opportunity to buy St. Lucia Stars merchandise at the stadium.
And that's definitely been one of the concerns about. All right. So tomorrow, just to make sure we have this right, tomorrow at Coconuts, definitely you purchase a ticket, and there you go. You have a start. You purchase a ticket, you get a cap. I'm not sure if the individual heard that early on, but definitely you purchase a ticket and you get a cap. So, Nusha, I'm kind of just stammering a little bit here because a lot of activity is ongoing in the in the news on set right now, but I guess we will get to that a little bit later on. All right, so in terms of preparation for the competition, you said that the Stars will be in Trinidad. These guys will be in Trinidad. In terms of the training camp, have the guys been gelling? Because we know with cricket, you guys need to be together, playing together in order to get that sort of success. And so, how's that looking?
I think with the way T20 franchise cricket now is, it's really professional. Guys know exactly what to expect. Usually they arrive in the country about a week before the first game. and they gel quite quickly. I mean, these guys have played with each other all over the world. If you look at it, the 3 of our guys, they're from Mumbai Indians. Lendl Simmons, Mitchell McLennan, and Kyron. They know each other extremely well. Kyron has played with Mohammad Sami. He's played with David Warner. So these guys know each other extremely well. So I'm not worried about them gelling together. We also have Brad Hodge as our coach, and Brad's had a ton of experience with Australia, and also around the world with Kings 11 Punjab and other teams. He's played a lot in the CPL. He used to play for St. Lucia Zooks. So I'm really confident that that this team is going to gel well and hopefully have a lot of success.
Definitely. Darren Sami, the first game is on the 16th of September, and we're looking at a 8 o'clock start.
Right.
And I realize most of our games are held in the night. Was that something that you guys had any influence on, or did it just came down that way and St. Lucians could go to work, after work, go home, take a shower, and enjoy some good cricket?
Yeah, I think that was the idea. We wanted to give people some time between the time they come home from work and the time the game starts, and give them an opportunity to get to the game. So that was the idea behind it, and hopefully, again, people join us and really support the team this year.
Definitely. We've seen some footage of last year that is at the Darren Sami Cricket Grounds. Cornwall was actually moved on, and of course we've heard a lot about our cheerleading in St. Lucia and the actual vibe. Did you get to experience some of the cricket last year here, or you were in Jamaica most of the time?
So in 2016 I was mostly in Jamaica, so I never and we played St. Lucia and Florida.
Yeah.
So I never actually this year was the first time I actually came to St. Lucia.
Okay. All right, somebody asked, are we giving away any tickets tonight?
We're not giving away any tickets tonight, but we have a great St. Lucia Stars cap from a man, Kenson.
Yeah,
Kenson's gonna wear it. Kenson
the
here.
Activities I saw going on, they're bringing on St. Lucia Stars. I'm not sure this is gonna fit.
I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect for you.
St. Lucia
Next time you go down to Rodney Bay and you don't want anyone to see you, you wear this cap.
Wear this cap. All right. At least it covered most of my head. I have a big head, so definitely. So St. Lucia, once you purchase the St. Lucia Stars tickets tomorrow, of course you get your cap as well, and of course, like we said, season tickets $120. You cannot really go wrong there. Of course, we have some other comments there. Somebody says every other team has a camp but the St. Lucia Stars.
Wow.
Yes.
So we will be having a camp. It'll be in Trinidad. And the reason for that was, one was logistical, and number 2 was we want to get the guys prepared on those wickets. The wickets in Trinidad are very unique, and we wanted to make sure that the players have the best possible preparation to win that first game, to give us the best possible chance for a good start.
Definitely. All right. Somebody says, welcome back to me. And somebody says that cap is for them. It won't fit my big head. I agree. I'll get one for me eventually. And I'll definitely get
you can alter. You can adjust.
Yeah, I could have adjusted it for the individual who said that. Yeah, you know yourself.
It's adjustable.
It's adjustable. Definitely. It will fit anybody who wants their St. Lucia Stars cap this year. All right. We have a number of questions. All right. Similar to Darren Sami. Darren Sami definitely as part of the team. Somebody's actually asking if Darren Sami is on the team. Where have you been? Darren Sami is definitely featuring on our team this year. He's definitely part of the squad. Lindell Simmons, which what you just said, they love Lindell Simmons for selection for the St. Lucia Stars. Of course, what's our expectation from Lindell Simmons? He's been, I wouldn't say when he gets going, he really gets going. We see that for St. Lucia. I think that's what we need to see.
Well, I think that's the hope. I think anytime you invest, the first pick of a draft in a player, you're expecting big things from that player. And so, Lendell's had a lot of success over the course of his career, whether it be for West Indies. He was a part of 2 championship-winning teams for Mumbai Indians. I mean, obviously, he was part of the West Indies World Cup winning team, and obviously, who can forget that 80 against India? So, I'm expecting big things from Lendell. He just had a really good tournament in Canada. So hopefully he's going to be one of our best players. And he's over the course of his career in CPL, he's scored a lot of runs. So hopefully this year is going to be no different.
All right. Somebody says, hi, Kenson. We've seen a lot of CPL. We've spoken a lot about CPL. Is there any communication with CPL and the corporate St. Lucia in terms of sponsorship and getting the corporate St. Lucia on board with cricket development?
Well, two things.
Good question.
Two things. The government has supported the St. Lucia Stars considerably, and it goes without saying that we have a really good relationship with the government, and obviously they're supporting us, and we're doing our best to give back. And specifically this year, I think we have big plans, not only during the season, but once the season is over, to do more activations and more activities throughout the year in St. Lucia, to give back to the people of St. Lucia. So we've gotten great support from the government. We're hoping to. Piton has said that they're going to support us as well this year again. So, I think we're getting good support, and hopefully, once we have a great season this year, I'm sure more and more sponsors will come on board and support the St. Lucia Stars.
Definitely, I'm seeing a message there. PCD is on board. That's Peter and Company Distribution. And of course, Peter and Company are definitely supporters of sports. I can tell you that for sure. I remember the brand Lucas Seed, Pine Hill Fun Walk from Peter and Company. These are individuals that understand corporate social responsibility, especially when it comes to sports. Most of these guys at PCD, they also sponsor some of the competitions, some of the teams, VSADC, the youth program. And so big up to PCD. Somebody just sent in. PCD is definitely on board, and let me just unlock this. I think I saw the brewery. I don't want to give anybody a plug that they don't deserve, so let me make sure I unlock my phone first, because we've been talking for a number of years about corporate St. Lucia really coming to the fore and assisting with cricket development. Also, the brewery, of course, is a part of that team. I think we have another question. We have another call. Good evening. You're live, Guarifa? Okay. All right. Shy. Peter Bear is also on board as well. Of course, we'll see what happens with that party stand. We really need to get that grandstand to get that party atmosphere that we've had before. All right, somebody says St. Lucia Stars should partner with veterans football. Of course, veterans, they have a little thing going in terms of the South and getting people out. So yeah. Somebody says, why is our fast bowlers Why is it our fast bowlers are overlooked and rather go for overseas base? I guess local fast bowlers. I guess.
I would have to disagree with that, because we've brought on Keswick Williams, who has probably been the best West Indies fast bowler in CPL T20, the last couple of years. We have Obed McCoy from last year, who I think is going to be one of the next big things in West Indies cricket and international cricket, and our under-23 player this year is Odean Smith, who's actually playing for West Indies A right now. He's probably bowling above 90 miles per hour, and he's going to be a big bowler for the West Indies as well. So, I'm a big believer in investing in the talent here. And if you look at a lot of our big players are from here. People will talk about David Warner, but we have Lendl, we have Chiron, we have Darren, and then we have all these young guys: Kavem Hodge, Obed McCoy, Odean Smith, Rakeem Cornwall. If we win this year, it's going to be because of the local West Indies players. Yeah,
and in terms of fast bowling, I think my initial question coming out of the draft was a penetrative spin bowler, an absolute world-class penetrative spin bowler. We saw last year with Trinidad. Again, I have to go back to Trinidad. There was Narayan, there was Khan, there was another spin bowler. They were absolutely spot on in that department, and so I think I would have asked more about getting that stop bowler, because Trinidad always seemed to have had that stop bowler.
Well, that's something that we, so there's a couple of things about that. So before the season started, before the draft, we had an opportunity to go out and get a player as a free agent, and the player that we actually signed was Rashid Khan.
Okay.
But Rashid,
really?
Yes. So, but unfortunately, what happened was that Rashid had a tour during CPL to Ireland. And so we couldn't continue to make that commitment.
That would have been, but that team would have been, just including him, I think we would have been. But
what we did was we went out and got, the best spinner in under 19 cricket. His name is Qais Ahmed from Afghanistan as well. Yeah. So I'm not going to say that people should expect the same thing as they would expect if Rashid Khan was here, but this is a really bright and talented cricketer from Afghanistan. He had 14 wickets in the under 19
World Cup. He was really good.
And he's a leg spinner. He's a leg spinner. He's a very, very good leg spinner. Very confident. Very accurate. So hopefully, it's for nothing if I praise him. I can praise him all I want.
Yeah.
People have to actually see him to see how good he actually
Is
is.
he
But
18 or 19 right now? Is he 18? Because I remember we had a conversation about, of course, Melius. Of course, St. Lucians always want to back their own. We brought in this 18-year-old from Afghanistan. We had that conversation on Facebook.
Right.
But I couldn't say, I personally, I did some research. I've been impressed with him. As to whether he will translate and get stuff done here, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But really impressed with him as a spin bowler. A couple of variations.
yeah, definitely. He's very confident. I think all four of our spinners are very good. I think Guess is going to be a surprise to a lot of people. I think Raheem is getting better and better. Kavem Hodge recently had a very good domestic Super 50, and he had a very good Canadian T20. And Christopher Lamont is going to be a surprise package. I know Christopher from my time at Jamaica. He used to play for Melbourne Cricket Club. Didn't really get an opportunity because Nikita Miller was ahead of him. But I think St. Lucia will see the best of Christopher, and he's going to be a big value pick for us.
Definitely. All right, somebody says, Kenson, supporting my Stars all the way. One suggestion though, sulfur spring baths for all our guys to get them going.
Well, you're going to have to tell me what exactly that is, but if that helps us win, let's do it.
That's Soufre, the sulfur spring. Yeah, that's somebody to hook you up, just to get their blood flowing. It's a nice hot spring. So yeah, it's supposed to help with muscle recovery. It's supposed to help
Maybe
with
I should do
everything.
that.
Everybody should do it. All right, we have a... Okay, I've been told we have to wrap up. All right, so I mean... All right, I've been asked about the shuttle service from the south for individuals from who are coming up north to see the games. So that's another thing that the St. Lucia Stars are definitely putting in place. So I guess we can look forward to more information.
We are working on that.
Yeah.
I can't say 100% that that's in place because it's not, but it's something that's been talked about, and it's something that we're working on internally to make sure that every St. Lucian has access to the matches.
All right. Somebody says, we just had SPL where we saw so much local talent. Why don't St. Lucia Stars look to select one or two of our local players who do move on and play for Windwards and West Indies team? For St. Lucia team, we need to support our own and look to these local tournaments for an uprising talent to help them build on their craft.
No, I think that goes without saying. I think that's a great point. We will always look for the next best player, whether it's from the SPL, whether it's from St. Lucia, wherever it could be, we will find that player. I think this year was a lot about reestablishing St. Lucia Stars and making sure that we're on the right path. But I think year on year, you're going to see more young players being given an opportunity from St. Lucia in particular, and they're going to be a part of our, hopefully a part of our 11, and we're going to do our best to discover the next stars from St. Lucia.
All right, so I had to smile. Okay, somebody's calling this number. The number is, in fact, we've taken the number off because we are wrapping up right now. Somebody says that CPL will be arranging for players to visit the Peters and do the mud bath. That is Sue Monplessis, of course. Sue is all into CPL. Definitely, I cannot say that I'm not getting my information. She's definitely on the ball. And so the person who asked about taking them to the mud bath, of course, they've already thought about it, so they will be doing that. Okay, so Mr. Khan, we're out of time. We're wrapping up. Last words to St. Lucians, and obviously every week we will be doing a little bit on the St. Lucia Stars and SPL, of course. Right. Of course, for those of you who do not know, of course, the Caribbean Premier League is the sponsor for the Sports Talk tonight and going forward. So definitely want to thank them for the sponsorship. So final words to...
The final words would be, please support us. Please go out and buy tickets. St. Lucia Stars will be here on the 16th, the 17th, the 21st, the 24th, and the 25th. And we really need your support. Be that 12th man and help us. Bring a title to St. Lucia. It's never been done, but I think this is the year. Don't miss it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on our set, of course, and your knowledge and passing on that information to St. Lucians. Of course, St. Lucians obviously had a number of questions to ask, and still questions are coming to my platform.
As long as you invite me.
Definitely. We'll continue to update St. Lucia. We still have a little bit of time before our first game. Not very long, but we still have about 2 weeks before the train stops in St. Lucia on the 16th. All right, somebody says a cap is not enough. A cap for Kenson, he didn't even look in. Somebody said he should have brought more. There is actually a bag I see to my left as well. I guess somebody could get that for me so I could definitely, because St. Lucians already, they discriminate people. Thank you, I love you for that. But yeah, they did actually bring on a bag as well. A lot of movement while we were taking our phone calls, and so definitely appreciate that. Somebody was also asking about the uniform. Are we going to the same uniform colors, or some adjustments?
Slightly different, but similar colors. But I think as time goes on, you're going to see a lot of pretty interesting and exciting improvements.
Right. Okay, St. Lucia, that's enough. We're wrapping up. Just still typing. All right. Yes, St. Lucia, thank you so much. Of course, I would like to thank all my guests tonight. Of course, Mr. Patrick Maffrey, who stopped by to give us that information from the 2018 Windward Island School Games. And obviously, earlier we spoke to Mr. Alton Crafton. We also spoke to Mr. Alvin Malakan, and we also spoke to Mr. Chad Daisy. All right. So on behalf of our entire sports team, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And you can always log on to St. Lucia Sports Online. That's www.stluciasportsonline for all your information, including CPL cricket. And of course, you can always tune in the morning for your SLSO sports update. We update the biggest activities ongoing in St. Lucia. So on behalf of our entire sports team, I'm Kenson Kazmi. See you guys. Good night.